In today's video, we're going to be looking at Kalye Irving. He is a young basketball player from the Philippines, and I think that he has a very bright future when it comes to basketball. Let's get down. Let's check out his game. Make sure to go check out my Basketball Coach Allen Prospects channel, which will be breaking down more of Kalye Irving later on. So make sure to go check that out down in the description below. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at is his shot release, because here we actually have a very, very close-up shot of how he shoots the basketball and his release. We can see that he really does focus on getting that ball on the fingertips, which is something that a lot of coaches and trainers will say. Now, some players will have success with that, while others may not. When it comes to Kalye Irving, however, he does have a very good shot, and we can see that it does leave his middle finger last. He also does have a very strong thumb flick, which you would assume would give it lack of spin. However, we can see from this angle that he does get quite a bit rotation on that ball. When we look at his overall form, we can see that he does have roughly a 90-degree angle on his hips, as well as a little less than 90-degree on his knees. So he's going to be getting a lot of his power from his Achilles, calves, as well as his lower back when it comes to his shot. When he goes up into his shot, it's a one-motion shot very similar to Steph Curry. However, we can also see that his shoulders are over top of his knees and over top of his toes, which gives him amazing balance from his shot. He also has his left foot a lot farther back than normal, or at least in most cases from most players. Usually you would want to have the front of the left foot basically in line with the balls of the right foot. However, he has his right foot a lot more farther ahead than many other players. What this tells me is that he's trying to get a little bit more power in his shot. Generally speaking, getting your right foot more in front of your left will give you more power. He's also up on his toes, which is fantastic. That'll get him up into his shot much faster, but he's also looking at that rim too, which is what you really want to do. And when we look at his elbow, when he goes up into his set point, he has a very low set point below his chin. He's more of a chest pusher, but unlike many chest shooters, he actually has a very high release with the elbow above his forehead, very similar to a Trae Young. And if I was to compare his shot to any NBA player, it would be more like a Trae Young style shot, and Trae Young is a very successful player. We can also see from this angle too that he gets his shoulders, hips, knees, and even feet pointing the exact same direction, and he actually squares up towards the rim. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that he may actually start tilting his body a little bit more when he gets a little bit older, mainly because when he goes up for his shot, he goes from being square to having his shoulder ahead of his left shoulder, and some players will find that having a slight tilt away from the net when shooting like this will give them more consistency. We can also see that he has a very soft release, just like Trae Young and Steph Curry, and he has a very consistent shot too. Even when he goes towards the right side, his footwork is also very good too. See, when you're a right-handed player going towards the right side, you want to hop into your shot. You want to be able to gather on your right foot, which is what we see here, and then hop into your 2-foot stance. Now, he does have a lot of angle on his body. Here he still has his shoulders over his knees, but they're well past his toes, and that's most likely because he's trying to get as much power as possible into this shot because he was going towards the right side in the first place. Now, looking from behind, when we look at his shot, we can see that it definitely goes off of his middle finger last. However, he is getting a good amount of power from both his pointer and middle finger. If he finds that, of course, the rotation or there is a lack of rotation on the ball, I would definitely remove the thumb flick, but it doesn't seem to be really affecting his shot at all because he still has rotation and arc on that shot. He also has a nice straight release. His arm, of course, goes straight towards the basket. It doesn't start leaning off towards one way or the other. His hands also don't cross drops either, which does happen sometimes with a thumb flick. It's a nice straight release and then he drops it, which is perfect. That's what you really want to see. You don't want to see your arm drifting off one way or the other. He has a very super soft release, and I can't stress this enough. If you want to have a shot that has a lot of arc, have a nice soft release. Have your hand bounce a few times. Now, this is not something that you can force your body into doing. This is something that you really just have to focus on releasing that ball and just letting that hand hang, because that will give you more arc. If you have a hard release like a Michael Jordan, you'll have less arc but more backspin, and generally speaking, if you have a thumb flick, you want a soft release, mainly because a hard release would really mess up your shot if you had a thumb flick like Kalye Irving does. I do like that when he receives the ball, he tends to look at the rim right away. This gets that defender right here up, essentially straight up, thinking that he's about to shoot that ball. Well, in this case, this defender is really super trying to force Kalye Irving towards that left side, and it's a really smart move to be able to go and attack that top foot, especially off of that screen. However, as soon as you catch that ball, I would recommend everybody looking at that rim, because that gives you the peripheral vision to be able to see the whole court, but it also makes that player think that you're going to shoot, in which case, in most cases anyways, that player would then try to close out to try to stop that shot, in which case then you can drive right past. So make sure to go check out my prospects channel down in the description below. Kalye Irving is a very good young player, and he is definitely going to be a very good player into the future. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and go check out Kalye Irving's YouTube channel as well.